Good morning, everyone. What is up? And a Merry Christmas to the Buffalo Bills because they got a gift last night. They got a desperately needed gift after a month of just, I don't know what you'd want to describe it, piss poor football, mediocre football, disappointing football, times where the Bills have not gotten breaks go in their favor. They finally get a massive break with the New England Patriots dropping the game in Indianapolis last night in a game that, let's be honest, up until maybe the midway through the third quarter into the fourth quarter, the Patriots were completely, seemingly outclassed by the Indianapolis Colts. And all Bills fans will remember our friend Jonathan Taylor, who kind of did the same thing to us. So it was actually really fun to see the Patriots get a taste of their own medicine, give up 170 rushing yards, and take their first loss in a long time, a long time. So, what does this mean for the Buffalo Bills? Well, this means that they control their own destiny. After all those, after the past month of really mediocre football, of losing close games, of not playing up to the standards that we expected this team to play with, they now control their own destiny in the AFC East. And my take on it is really simple. The excuse time's over. The moral victory time is over. The we have some things to clean up is over. The, it wasn't our day is over. The Buffalo Bills come into this season with an expectation of playing for an AFC championship. They come in with an expectation of winning this division. Well, you know what? The excuses are over. The, you know, the the blame game and we need to stack wins. And I love Josh Allen. I love the guy. Obviously, he's our QB1. He's our franchise. But enough with the cliches. Enough with the stack wins. Enough with that's an embarrassing question by this defense that hasn't shown up in the past month and a half, except against the cream puff teams of this league. It's time. It's time for this team to show us if they're really going to be a Super Bowl contender, like they've been saying all year, and what the expectations were. It's time for this team to wake up and start playing some NFL football. It's time for this team to start gritting out wins and start putting up W's. It's really that simple. The time is now for this team. You have 4 games. I think they were 12-point favorite here today, maybe 11.5 earlier. They're going to be favorited probably maybe by double digits in 3 of their last 4 games, and the other games against the Patriots. Time to buckle your chin straps and win some games. It's real simple. You win 4 games, you're AFC East champs, you're in the playoffs guaranteed, you're right where you're supposed to be, and anything could happen. Now, my personal opinion, do I think this team is a Super Bowl contender? Not the way they've played the past 6 weeks. Not with a defense that can't stop the run, especially when you're going to see Tennessee. You could see Indianapolis. You're going to see New England, all of whom are good running teams and can, run the ball down your throat. Even, we lost to Pittsburgh. They could be in the mix. Chargers got a good team. The Ravens, if Lamar Jackson could somehow come back healthy, they're always a challenge. So I'm not even talking about a Super Bowl right now. I'm talking about getting yourself in a position to contend for a Super Bowl. And this team obviously has the talent to do so. We've seen this team play well. We've seen this team against the Chiefs. We've seen them, Josh Allen, slip away from beating the Titans with Derrick Henry. So it's not that this team doesn't have the talent to do so. It's just the time for the cliches and the excuses and the Sean McDermott brain farts and the Brian Daboll piss poor play calling and the Leslie Frazier abominations on defense. It's time for that to end. I have no more patience with this team. We justified losing last week. Okay, it was a moral victory. They came back. Josh Allen looked great. They had some guys injured. Starla Tulele wasn't playing, a couple games. And, Tremaine Edmonds was that time is over. 4 games to win the division. It's really simple. It's beautiful in its simplicity with this team. That's the analysis. There's no X's and O's. There's no, you want the game preview for today? I'll give you the game preview. It's very simple. This Carolina Panthers team is a shell of what it was in the beginning of the year. I mean, you thought Sam Darnold was bad. Look at the product Cam Newton's putting on the field. Chucking up interceptions, missing open receivers. Their defense that was once, a top 5 conversation earlier in the year, just gave up 29 points to the Falcons at home. So what does this tell you? It tells you that today it's real simple. This is a get-right game for the Bills. They're getting big class relief. They just lost, that tough game to New England in the weather, and they lost that tough game to Tampa on the road. You're coming back home. You're playing a team that's below 500, that fired their offensive coordinator, that's a shell of itself. It's time for the Buffalo Bills to make a statement. They need to win this game big. They need to put it away early. They need to keep Josh upright, keep him healthy, because let's be honest, he's our future. He's our past, present, and future at this point. Well, no, of course, the great Jim Kelly's there, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, we're really to the point now where we need Josh to be healthy, and this game needs to be put away. This game needs to be put away. You need to show that you're back, and then you roll into New England with momentum, and then, that's probably going to be a pick-em type game, but you know what? You're going to have to play them in the playoffs if you're lucky enough to make it. Win a game. It's real simple. I know Bill Belichick's great, win a game. But before we even get to that, the focus is this week. And what I am looking for on the offensive side of the ball, honestly, I'd like to see a little bit more up-tempo. I think the Bills' offense, if you remember a couple years ago, the Bills' offense basically ran no huddle like every play. And I'm not saying we necessarily have to go back to that. But I want to see this offense moving up-tempo, moving aggressively, not being on the back foot for a change, being aggressive. I know a lot of the content creators out there have talked about a desire to see Sean McDermott be a little bit more aggressive in terms of like the offense, in terms of going for it on 4th down, in terms of, really pushing the pace on offense. And that's what I want to see. I want to see this team pushing the pace. I want to see Josh Allen throwing the ball, getting the ball out quick, speed, plays, and up-tempo. I want to wear down this Carolina Panthers defense. Make this team quit. They are, like I said, they're a shell of themselves. If you watch the Panthers the last few games, they're, Cam Newton, I think, has been benched the past couple of weeks. Like, this is a team that's basically begging for the season to end. And this is the type of game you need to oblige them. Get up quick, get that tempo moving, wear down that defense. And I think you have a very, very good chance to be successful in this game. I really do. But that's what I'm looking for on offense. And in terms of another thing I'm looking for offense, keep the Gabe Davis train rolling. I'm very happy to see him in the lineup. I know Emmanuel Sanders isn't going to play today. I'm not really shaken up about that loss because, I don't think he's offered you very much the past few games. So I want to see the Gabe Davis train continue. I want to see them utilize Beasley as well because I think he's, a big weapon in that slot. So that's what I'm looking for in terms of the passing game and the offense. And I guess the last thing on offense, almost forgot, Devin Singletary. I want to see more Devin Singletary. In that Tampa game, he had some good runs. He had some successful plays. And I would like to see, I'm not talking about, 30 rushes a game. That's not what it is. But I'm talking about picking your spots, a 2nd and 2, 1st and 10 every once in a while, maybe a few screen plays. Get the ball in his hands, see what he could do because he's had some good runs. Especially last week, he showed you some things. And maybe if you're a little more consistent and you give Singletary, the bulk of the work, And then obviously you're mixing up Rita. Maybe he gets into a rhythm. Maybe he starts to feel comfortable. Maybe you could build something in terms of a run game, because you need to be balanced in this league. You can't just, the days of, I think, throwing it 70 times and expecting to win, especially with this offensive line that's beat up. You're not going to have Deion Dawkins today, who, he's had his ups and downs, but I think it's definitely an improvement over some of the guys we got on this offensive line. So really, I think you're going to need a run game to develop. And I'm not talking about 150 yards a game. I'm talking about being able to, every once in a while have a successful run play, to open up play action, to keep the defense honest, and to let those receivers work for Josh Allen. In terms of the defense, here's my thoughts on it. Time for the defense to wake up. It's time for this defense to wake up. I'm really sick of the, that's an embarrassing question crap. We're a good defense crap. Second in the league. The defense has been an abomination for the past probably, month and a half. This defense has not performed against good competition. They just haven't. That's real simple. They have not performed against the higher level competition in this league. And now they're getting an offense that's completely sputtering, that doesn't know who their quarterback is, that, no Christian McCaffrey. It's real. This defense needs to show up. Loss of Tre'Davious White was big, but they're not getting beaten with the pass. It's front seven. It's getting manhandled. And let me tell you, there's some guys on this defense where it's time for them to start stepping up. Ed Oliver, some good flashes, not enough for me. Tremaine Edmonds, not good enough. It's just not been good enough. Those are the two guys that I think really need to step up. Greg Rousseau, like what I've seen his rookie year, but again, it's just not. He had a good start. He kind of hit the rookie wall a little bit where it doesn't seem like you're calling his name very much on Sundays, over the past month and a half after that good start. So I'm looking for some of those guys to really step up, but especially at Oliver, again, he had some good flash plays. He's made some plays. Need a little bit more consistency from him, but I would say the player on this defense, Tremaine Edmonds. When are we going to see it? He has all the upside in the world. He's a physical freak. He's, we've seen his ball skills. He has talent, but it's just a matter of consistency. Consistency. This team's got to be more consistent. Really on all sides of the ball, but especially this defense. You give up 24 points to the Bucs, then you have some good stops, and then you fold at the end of the game. And I know it's Tom Brady. We've seen him do it 1,000 times. But it was just, like that Tampa game with the defense. It's just indicative of where this defense has been, where it's just stop and start and stop and start and stop and start. Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, they're upset about, were we embarrassed giving up 250, 300 freaking rushing yards to the pay? Yeah, I'd be fucking upset too. I was embarrassed. I think most of Bills Mafia was embarrassed with the performance. It's time for them to be embarrassed with some of the performance they've put up. We're talking about you as a top 5 defense. You're giving up, 30 points a game to these good teams, and now you're getting class relief. And now's a chance to really get fat. Time to pad the stats. Time to put this team in the dirt and make a statement and say, we're for real. And you know what? We're going to carry that to New England. And we're going to carry that again at Atlanta. And we're going to beat up on a lousy Jets team. And then, you start to build the momentum. Now, I know, like I said, 3 of their last 4 games against bad opponents. I'm not particularly concerned about any of the offenses, really, except for the, Patriots, because we've seen that they could run the ball. They could control the clock. Mac Jones could make a few throws to, keep the chains moving. So really, it's time for this defense. Really, it's time for enough excuses, enough crap. There's some injuries. Everybody has them. It's time for this team to go and buckle up their chin straps and get it going. And, I'll take that to the coaching too. Coaching-wise, enough excuses, enough playing scared. And I think McDermott really has struggled as the season has kind of felt like it's starting to slip away. He's regressed into, I think, who he is, which is a defensive coach. Less aggressiveness, less taking chances, less, less of that risky, go for it on fourth down, aggressive type play that really, was so successful for the Bills last year. I think as the season started to slip away, and especially in close games, it's been very conservative, very conservative. And I think as a coaching staff, let's be honest, I think it was fool's gold because the defense played so well in the beginning. And as they've played better teams and the defense has struggled, I think the expectation's still been, we want to rely on our defense. We don't want to lose the game on offense. And I think that's completely the opposite. You saw last week the things that 17 could do on the field. You've seen some of the things that these receivers could do on the field. These last four games, not just this game, but these last four games, it's really time for the Buffalo Bills coaching staff to let this offense cook and to put the season in their hands. Because really, I'll tell you what, I'm paying a franchise quarterback, $200 million or $158 million or whatever we're paying Josh. I want the season to rest on his arm. No offense. I've seen this defense. I've seen how they've played. I'm not putting my faith in this defense with the season on the line. So if it comes down to it and it's a close game, I want to see Josh Allen in the offense with the ball, going for it on fourth down. Tyler Bass has been good. All respect to Tyler Bass. He's made his kicks. It was pretty much, he's had a couple blemishes here and there, but for the most part, he's been great. Love him, but season on the line, I don't want to see Tyler Bass trotting out there for a field goal. I want the ball in Josh's hands, trying to make a play. And you know what? If at the end of the day, at the end of the season, if it comes down to, it and the offense, gets stopped on fourth down and that's what loses us again, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm tired of watching this defense give up games. I'm tired of watching this. I honestly would have gone for it 4th and 4 last week because you knew who Tom Brady was. You knew when Tom Brady got the ball back, it wasn't going to be good. And, sure enough, that's what happened. But I just think in general, it's time for this coaching staff to be a little bit more aggressive. And it's time for these people to stop reading the press clippings and really, I think this team in general, I guess the summation of this video is real simple. It's time. It's time for this team to cut out the press clippings, cut out the excuses, cut out the crap, and realize that they've been given a golden opportunity by the Colts to really get this season back on track. Really get a season that felt like it was slipping away, where you're a game above 500. Now you have a chance in these last 4 games to control your own destiny. And it starts today. And I'm expecting and I'm hoping that this team comes out with some desperation and some fire, because that's what they need to do really for the next 4 days. But especially I think this game is going to be maybe their most important game of the season, honestly, because it's really, and I'll conclude with this because I know this is getting to be a bit of a long video, but with respect to this game, I actually think this game is the most important game of the season, because this is really going to set the tone for the next 4 weeks. This is really a chance, and I know it's a diminished Panthers team that you're favored by 11 points. This is really a game where the Bills can get right in more ways than one and really start to establish momentum and kind of shoot a warning shot across the bow to the Patriots for next week and say, we're coming. We're coming into Foxborough. We're coming. they really need to go and play, for the first time in a long time, a consistent 60-minute football game. And I think if the Bills could have that consistent 60-minute football game, this is something that they could really carry with them moving forward and really put a statement of intent out, maybe not even just to the Patriots, but to the rest of the AFC, that this team is not, not dead. They're not cratering. That despite losing 3 of their last 4, that this is a team that could still make some noise and still contend for a Super Bowl. So that's the preview. We'll see what it is the Buffalo Bills are able to do today. And go Bills.